Okay, so in some ways, starting with Starbase 1 may have been a bit more than I could chew. Don't worry, I'll zoom in, get closer, and more fine detail, but I just wanted to show you the scale of this thing. It is one of the largest models Eaglemoss has produced, potentially the largest. I didn't actually get my Section 31 station in to check, but I'll check it later before I zoom in. But just for some size comparisons, I wanted to get what used to be a real big model. Um, Earth Space Dock. That is Eaglemoss's Earth Space Dock sitting next to Starbase 1. I realize that there's some glare off the monitors. I can't do much about that because this is the only place I can get this model really recorded, but when we zoom in, it'll get better for more fine detail. I also have next to me the sarcophagus ship, the first special edition, and let me just move Earth Space Dock out of the way. Yeah, it's about as tall as the sarcophagus is long from head to wing. And then finally, one more model you probably have if you have Starbase 1 is the standard size, not the XL, but the standard size Discovery. It's, yeah, a very long Starbase. You can also tell just because it's sitting in front of my monitors. I mean, these are pretty standard sized monitors. I don't think you can actually see this model. Oh no. Well, I was going to talk about that later. You can't actually see this model in 1:1 because it is bigger than my monitor. Okay, so I guess we're going to talk about the stand first. Yeah, the stand isn't the best for the model. When I got it, it actually came really crooked. I don't quite remember. I wanted to say, I don't know, it was something bad, almost like this, if I recall correctly. And for a model so tall, even like a minor tilt you're going to notice. Because, well, if you see, this is the model flat. And even like a slight tilt, from the end to the top, that's pretty severe. And it was the point where it might as well be broken. It was so bad. So I went, all right, if it might as well be broken. I tried to bend it back into place and immediately snapped it because I'm blending plastic. I was able to glue real easy. Just, carefully check, okay, that's straight, and glue it back together to something that looks fine, perfectly straight. But just be aware that stand, you will probably get something that isn't perfect, and you'll have to deal with that yourself. So, moving on, though, get that out of the way. A much more detailed view of Starbase 1. And yeah, this is a beautiful model, highly detailed. You can see, if focus, you can see it's got loads of windows all the way up the spine of the ship. I'm now hitting the tripod because this is so long. I'm hitting the mic. There we go. More windows. And then a little antenna. Just a little... actually, that is quite rigid. I think mine, yeah, is a little bit bent. But as you can see, as long as you just display it the right way, you won't really notice it if your antenna is a little bit bent. I think all of mine, Earth Space Dock and regular one, all my models have slightly bent antennas. The bottom bit, I guess the power thing, if it's like Deep Space Nine at all, is a shiny sort of metal thing, real highly detailed. You can see there's actually some windows in it. This is a huge starbase, and it's really finely detailed, kind of with just this machine stuff going on. For a part of the model, you probably won't notice, because you'll probably look at it more like this, unless, I guess, you have it displayed really tall, but this bit right here is probably the focus bit. It's textured as well. You can probably hear it's got little ridges along the edge. So it's a nice tactile model right there. Not so much everywhere else. It's pretty smooth, but, I mean, these are models. They're not Play-Doh, I don't know. Also comes with a pretty good magazine. As always, it's got some nice art and designing the station. You know, a profile there. But as you'll notice, flipping through the art, the station doesn't exactly line up with the art. And you might go, oh, that's concept art. You know, a lot of these stations don't quite line up. That picture looks pretty accurate. But here's, I should have done this zoomed out. Here's Starbase 1, right? And let me put up a picture now of Starbase 1 from Discovery. And you might be thinking, that looks a little off at first somehow. Maybe you don't, but you'll see it's kind of got these little rib bits seem to be close to the top, and there only seems to be one of these little groove bits in the show. And, you know, maybe it's a weird angle. Maybe it's more like this, and the station looks a lot shorter than it is. But let me then show up and throw up another picture on the screen right now. And you're going, oh yes, that is exactly this model. It's got, you know, it's got the right round ridges. It's got the windows on here, which the Discovery model didn't have, mind you. And yeah, it just, the color's right, everything's right. And so, well, what's on screen right now? That is a picture of Starbase 1 from the Star Trek Online game. I haven't played that mission myself, but reportedly, I've heard that in the game, it's like Starbase 1 after the war. So they rebuilt it, refit it after it was damaged. And so this is a bigger, I suppose more modern and updated Starbase 1. And so in terms of screen accuracy, it's just wrong compared to Discovery. So if you're a real big stickler on screen accuracy, you'll probably want to give this model a pass. But other than that, I mean, it's perfectly accurate to the Stowe model. It's just really weird that they use the Stowe model. And it is, I think I keep hitting the mic, this model is so big. It is a real detailed, beautiful model, really nice size, good value, size-wise. So, in terms of just like a pure model, I recommend it. It's a great, beautiful station. And when you compare it to this Discovery one, I mean, Discovery, Starbase 1 always shows up really small. You can't see much detail, so it's sort of a close enough thing. But yeah, it's just really weird. I know for the other shows, the other models rather, Eaglemoss uses the actual CGI models from the show, and that's how they design everything. And that's also what Stowe does for the modern shows, is they both are using the same source models. It's just weird that Eaglemoss appeared to have taken the Star Trek Online model over the actual main show model, and that's just weird. Also just noticed, I think you can see that on the camera, there are ridges kind of like going along the thing in between the windows, so it isn't completely flat. I'm pretty sure, yeah, those are actual indents, they're not just painted on. That same, actually, there aren't ridges going up, but there are the ridges horizontally along this main spine. And then you can see there's some gaps there near the top of the spire. Obviously some holes in there, but no holes in the middle bit. And I don't actually know. Well, there's some holes going in through the bottom. You can see like right in the core. You can kind of see there. I don't know if this bit actually has holes like the Discovery saucer does or not. Let me check that actually. Okay, I'm not sure. Some of the concept art seems to differ, but the picture in the magazine doesn't have any holes. And usually these magazines are good reference images. I've seen, it's always annoying when the magazine has a detail the model doesn't, and you're like, well, now you're kind of just advertising you didn't do this bit. Finally, the model also does sit on its stand rather really well, really sturdy once you get its working. My model doesn't fit in the base too well. You can kind of see that, there you go, there's a gap right there. I don't know if this is a per stand, or like per plastic bit, but you know, some models don't really fit and others do a lot better, which is really weird. You think these would be standardized, but once it actually is sitting fine, you might look a bit concerned because you know it's quite a small connection, but it's sturdy. The Starbase isn't gonna fall off once it's actually glued, and as you can see, it slides up and connects to these little beams, so the Starbase is not going anywhere. In fact, I think I could probably, yeah, I can turn it upside down. I'm actually holding it by the plastic right now, and like here you go, the plastic alone, not the Starbase. Um, yeah, and it actually is sturdy. I can shake it a bit. So yeah, your model's not going anywhere. Real nice stand, which you don't get many really nice stands with Eaglemoss, but other than the alignment issues you might have, this is a nice stand, and it doesn't really hinder visibility at all. I mean, you can see these aren't exactly the most interesting part of the model that gets obstructed, and your gaze really goes to this bit that's been on camera most of the time. I suppose it's not the best if you display it like this, but I like how it really... I tend to display it sideways like this, so it really shows off the metal underside as well. And that is our Starbase 1, a real good model. I highly recommend it. I also want to do some admin real quick at the end of this video, in that this, you know, this is a video that's not really like what I've posted on the channel before. It's kind of like the Thing Explorers, but this is well, this isn't 3D printed. This is a plastic die-cast model. The channel's gonna go through a little bit of a reboot and a redesign to be more Star Trek focused. The next videos on this channel should be a lot different to everything else that's gone before, but I wanted to make one of these first to show that there'll still be content like this that is closer to what you've seen before, but it's gonna be, this is basically gonna become a Star Trek channel. Mostly, I might do the occasional other thing along the veins, probably another sci-fi thing, or maybe another show if there's something I really want to talk about. This is kind of going to become a Star Trek channel. I'm going to do the Universe collection as it releases, so you should see a La Serena video for Eaglemoss in a few weeks, whenever it ships. I haven't been billed for it yet. And yeah, next time I should hopefully pick something a lot smaller and a lot easier to manage than this, because this is a big guy.